Mrs. Larrabee here with another art lesson for us. This week we're going to be looking at sunflowers. Mr. Vincent van Gogh was known for his beautiful paintings that uses line and shape to create his artwork. We're going to be looking at some of his sunflower paintings this week. These sunflower paintings have been drawn very realistically. You can see that each of the flowers has a distinct shape. In fact, let's think for a minute together. If I were to ask you to draw a flower, you might do something like this. But how is that different from a sunflower, or a tulip, or a rose? We want to draw things that look kind of realistic so that the person who's viewing our artwork knows that was supposed to be a sunflower. We're going to do that by focusing on the element of shape this week. Let's take a look at the picture of these sunflowers. Notice that the center is a shape, a circle. Take a look at the center of the sunflower and compare it to the leaves or the petals around the edge. On sunflowers, typically the center is much larger, and these petals or these little leaves around the edge are actually pretty small. So when we draw a sunflower, we can show that it's realistic by using the shapes and using them in the right proportion. So today we're going to draw in the style of Mr. Van Gogh. We're going to start with the vase. So take your paper, put your hand on the top about midway down. We're going to keep our vase to the bottom half of our picture. I'm going to use two curved lines and a line on the bottom. We're using line to draw our vase. Okay, we're not going to add anything to the top of our vase yet because we want to leave plenty of room for these beautiful flowers. All right, think back to that picture of the sunflowers. We're going to start by adding a big circle on our picture. This will be our first sunflower. All right, add petals around the edge, but I want you to think, not all of the petals are lined up perfectly. I have not a real sunflower here, but it's kind of the look of a sunflower. If you look at them, there's some petals that are turned in, there's some petals that have been turned over just a little. So let's see if we can use shape to draw realistically. So here's this petal that's not quite perfect right here. And then beside it is a petal that's much wider. So as I turn back to the sunflower picture, I want you to pause the video and I want you to draw the petals as you actually see them. We can do that by focusing on the line and the shape. If the petal's a little smaller, we could make it smaller. If the petal's kind of off to the side, maybe it's not that perfect teardrop oval kind of shape, we can do that. You're going to go ahead until you've drawn your whole sunflower in. All right, we have one realistic sunflower. All right, we're going to add more, but I also want us to draw one from the side. If you take a look back at Mr. Van Gogh's work, you'll see that some of his sunflowers aren't straight on, which is how we draw often when we're doing artwork. Some of his are tilted to the side. What I mean by that is maybe it looks more like this. So instead of looking at it like this and seeing the center, we're only seeing the side. Look, this is kind of a C-shaped on the side. So I'm going to draw it in that way. Let's see, and we can choose anywhere we want to put it. I'm going to set this over here for a minute so we can still look at it. So I'm going to add my C shape down here. You can decide where in your vase this flower is going to go. And then all I can see are the petals coming off the side. So I'm going to draw some petals this way. Remember, not all the petals are going to be perfect. Some of them may be a little crimped on the side. I can also see the petals sticking out from the other side. And then off the back here are these green parts of the leaves, and they kind of do something a little different shaped. All right, this is another step in drawing realistically. All right, I want you to go ahead and fill your vase. If we were in class together, I might challenge you to fill your vase with 10 or more sunflowers. I have a pretty small sheet of paper here, so depending on your paper, you may not have a lot of room. Let me see you put at least 3 sunflowers, but if you can, fill your vase more. Don't be afraid to put some down here at the bottom too. All right, we have our sunflowers drawn in. It's time for us to add the top of the vase and the stems now. So decide where the top of your vase would go. It's going to go behind these flowers here. And then I'm going to add in some stems. This one's gonna come from back here, and I can see the stem here. This one I probably can't see the stem for, it's kind of down front. All right, let's take one more look at Mr. Van Gogh's artwork. We'll notice that there's a table line in the back. Now we put the table line back a little in our picture. If we drew the table line right here, it would mean that our vase was sitting on the very edge of the table and it might fall off at any moment. If you set a vase on the table and you come down to its level and you look at it, you'll see that the table line's back behind it. Notice that the table line is straight in his artwork, but on the vase, there's a curved line. It looks curved because the vase is rounded, but we know that it's actually a straight line all the way around the vase evenly. So if you want to, you could add this curved line. It just shows that our table is flat with a straight line. This curved line shows that our vase is rounded. It's something that gives a little 3 dimension to our artwork. All right, it's time to start watercoloring. Be really careful with your watercolors. You want to be sure that every time you switch colors, you wash your brush. That'll keep your colors from getting mixed together when they're in your palette. I'm washing my brush between my colors. You can paint your sunflowers realistically, keeping them yellow or orange, or you could paint them a little more fancifully. If you want to make them all sorts of crazy colors, go for it. That could be kind of fun. We drew realistically, but we could paint fancifully. If you want to mix colors, you should do it on your paper. So maybe I want to add a little orange on with this red. I can do that by adding a little orange on top while the yellow is wet. There we go, I have a two-tone flower now. Don't forget to paint down here at the bottom. You want to paint your tabletop. You want to add some paint to your vase. And you want to paint your background. Be careful when you go around your flowers. You'll want to take your time so that you can paint nice and neatly. Don't forget at the end to sign your work down at the bottom, and you now have your very own inspired Vincent van Gogh sunflower artwork. I'll see you back here next time in the art room.